Good morning, 12:17, actually afternoon. It's morning somewhere. I'm speaking today on OOTW, OPM, and OPW, operations other than war, about OPM, other people's money, OPW, other people's work. I filed a patent application many moons ago, filed and refiled between 2003, 2 years to the day after 9/11, till about 2017. I filed and refiled. And then I realized that I'd have to wait till there's a patent war where there's multiple Goliaths and multiple Davids, which is now. And we have multiple Goliaths backing in one team. Then we have a David named Reggie Middleton, the disruptor in chief, father of DeFi. And I'm waiting in the background because I think that whoever wins and loses his patent infringement filing against Circle Link that relocated to the One World Trade Center, I think inevitably, as it moves up to the Supreme Court and on to the international standard organizations, that he'll have to be a part of a team with other Goliaths. And I think there's going to be more than one David in the hunt. And the other David being me. And there's other people that filed for patents that are small fries, so they're welcome to join. So it's about battlefield digitizations for operations other than the war. That's the framework. That's the foundation framework. This is the slide I kept from many, many moons ago, from 2003. The upper part is the German Army slides. Bottom part is my suggestion to use operations other than the war to support distributed beacon communities belonging for a distributed autonomous organization, DAO, which is a RAND Corporation term that sprung up the RAND think tank about the same time. My patent application, I was unaware that I had filed in parallel to the German Army's suggestion. My filing is 2 years to the day of 9/11, 2003. And battlefield digitization I'm not going to go through what that is this time. Kind of did last time. Moving on to what asides from battlefield digitization, network-centric warfare, bringing many, many processes, thousands of lines of code, millions of hours of man-hours in coding to include mapping ops code brevity codes to symbols. The mapping that would be tokens. Ops code brevity codes are now called tokens by the blockchain thundering herd. Same thing. It's key to artificial intelligence. Imagine Pentagon Daily Brief, you have symbols. You don't have the ops code brevity codes posted. You have their symbolic equivalents. That's to speed understanding and to enable mankind to have any hope of keeping up with computers. The internet is, as it always has been, it's unicast, broadcast, or anycast. In anycast, think of publish, subscribe. Think of subscriptions like your Netflix. You subscribe, you have permission, then you have access to the broadcast. And that hasn't changed. Routers publish, they broadcast to, as described by routing tables. I happen to think I'm filtered out from routing tables. A few people can see my work or this work. My work is meta work. It's work about other people's work, OPW. Anyway, I'm mostly filtered out of the net, but I never counted on the 98% anyway. As well, hey, the 1%, the other 1% pay attention. The rest of us, not so much, but you knew that. The core of the DeFi blockchain over the top battle royal litigation is the internet was described by memes and metaphors. No packets, no switches, there's no blockchain. All there is epoch time cycles in which you are used to process or parse. You parse has fallen out of disuse. Code in order to make what is mostly workflow. I think everything's workflow over internet. Personally, some other people agree. I think AI is statistically predictive workflow, but blockchain is descriptive. It's helpful to understand as a meme, as a metaphor, but at the end of the day, everything's stored in a database flat file, as it always has been. And you pick a keyboard convention, comma delimited files is probably the most common. Other people picked other keys on the keyboard. And this describes, says replacement sheet up in the upper left-hand corner. I had to send in replacement graphics because my paper copies got crumpled in multiple places. I also sent my application in via electronic file, so they could have, would have, should have printed new graphics to replace the crumpled paper graphics with the electronic version, my opinion. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a lowly taxpayer. And we all know that we do not count in any way, form, shape whatsoever. Not to get political. So this is the essence of battlefield digitization as it applies to the packet. You have corporate entities, distributed autonomous organizations. They may join a federation. They tether and untether at will to accomplish a task, like it's time to harvest crops, for example. If they don't want to remain a permanent member of the organization, well, they drop their affiliation. And we have a little bit about hop counts and a little bit about the geospatial aspects of the patent. I'm not deep diving into everything about battlefield digitization. I'm telling you about my filing today. Here was a replacement graphic. The patent attorney said, you have 1 week to describe your idea in context with a Little League baseball tournament, or I'll quit taking your money. So at the end of the week, this is what I had arrived at using pre-existing graphics, rearranged them and attempted to show a complex workflow, which I think everything internet is workflow over internet protocol, broadcast, unicasted, anycasted. The baseball meme is my patent attorney's stipulation. He didn't, at the end of the week, I called and his assistant said, well, he went on vacation, so we'll have to file next week. And after a week of 12-hour days in a hot little room with a fan, with my late wife was in there all day with me, moral support, I said, well, I'm going to file this myself. So I actually filed. I was hoping that his assistant would help me with the paperwork and how-tos and editing out words that the patent attorneys like and the terms that they don't, et cetera, et cetera. So again, this isn't a deep dive into the Little League baseball tournament. I'm just telling you what happened along the way with my patent application and why it matters today. End state is my patent application described waveforms, waveform motion, just derived a Genesis epoch, what the internet actually consists of, epoch and epoch time cycles. Qubits don't exist in quantum computing. Another notional metaphorical construct that the blockchain, crypto, etc., quantum computing crew dreamt up. This is my filing. You have time cycles. You have what I call the Paul Revere linear sequential meme, and you have the broadcast meme, which is the concentric circle. Most peer-to-peer in the blockchain, so-called, is peer-to-peer, and broadcast is broadcast. And this was my way to describe it in a physical with using physical memes. Waveforms are physical. You can see them on oscilloscopes, general network analyzers. Blockchain, not so much. You're never going to see that. Intent of the invention, battlefield digitization causes organizations to be synchronized and stochastically harmonized, organized over time space. Track real-world assets. DoD's been doing that forever. They have to track how much food they have, or they need to know whether they can conduct an operation or they can't. Can be applied to financial markets, tranche classes, and thresholds. Not going to get into the nitty-gritty. I could talk about the invention for a week, but it's not that it's anything new. It's the opposite. Everything is old. Quantum financial system, TRC stands for trade reference currency. That's what the work ultimately supports. The microtransactions came out of the video game world. Programmers, for the most part, my opinion, here's your building blocks, epoch time cycles, syntax, a little bit how battlefield digitization works from the micro to the macro cycle. I have a 208 page paper explains it better. Here's an example of structured data exchange. This is not to say that blockchain vendors aren't doing structured data, but they haven't mapped the ops code brevity codes, which they now call tokens, to symbol sets that I'm aware of. And if they have, then when and if are they going to be compatible with the international standard organizations when this gets elevated to Switzerland, the international standard organizations, which tend to be in Switzerland. Here's another example of message text format, structured data. You can glance at yourself. It's involved. It's tedious. Took an incredibly long time to sort out, which is why I don't think the blockchain community is going to do this anytime soon. And even if they do, they may not be compatible if they do their own thing. End state is, I think, will be based on sound waves. Why? Easier to implement at given different elevations, different temperatures at different time zones, closer to the pole, closer to the equator. Why not just use sound waves at room temperature instead of this whole particle wave duality thing? That's going to go on forever. But again, the sound waves is a way for interoperability. So that's why I think it's the way forward. My thing's about interoperability mediation amongst the ultra high net worth families and individuals who own hundreds, if not thousands. Like, it's mediation amongst them, and it's mediation between them and us at the grassroots who pick the corn, wheat, rice, what have you, gather, mine the gold, lithium, what have you. well, they're going to say, well, machines are going to do that. Well, not entirely. There'll still be humans in the loop um, to oversee the machines. So that's quite a long philosophical discussion. We'll skip that for now. Here's a snapshot of describing why my application is relevant, because I describe what is the basic building blocks. I'm the only one that has done this. And even if somebody else has followed suit, I did it first. And oh, by the way, I have the best meme as given to me by my patent attorney, stipulated by him. And it's conformant with how the internet is constructed, waveforms, epoch, Genesis epoch, follow on epochs. That's just the way it is. Uh, if everybody disagrees with this, then guess what? We're not going to achieve a one world anything anytime soon. And maybe that's a good thing too. Hey, did what I was supposed to do. This is a snapshot of the financial Nostradamus, his patent infringement filing against Circle. Doesn't mention which behemoths are backing Circle. You can research that yourself. In the middle is why I think that at one point the financial Nostradamus, father of DeFi, will consider me as a another David in this David against Goliath's plural war. I think uh, sound waves, waveforms are the way forward, because that's how everything started. It's how everything is, and it's how everything will be. That's simple. My patent application, essence of it on the right, and the number. Here's a snapshot of whatever happens with whoever wins Circle or the financial Nostradamus, Reggie Middleton, it's going to be escalated. And other groups are going to jump in. And the Supreme Court's going to they're going to have to pick a side. They can't say it's a draw. I guess some baseball games have ended and they called it because of time, but don't they play it the next day? They continue and they have a rematch, right? So anyway, I took notes on what happened when and by whom, and why I think it's at the end of the day, Transco versus Performance Contracting Inc. was cited, and that means that a patentable idea was formed. Otherwise, why make that citing? Why just ignore me, just mark it abandoned and leave it at that? So a patentable idea was formed, so say at the Patent Office through Transco versus Performance Contracting Inc., that they cited twice about over a 4-year period. They took screen captures with no timestamps, creates a temporal ambiguity. And here's some other aspects where I think it needs to be revisited. And oh, by the way, it's the way forward in declaring which David and Goliath team will move forward with the win. And with that, we will end the recording.